All right, folks. Hey, this is Gene from Regular Guy Mountain Biking, and tonight we have Chris Connor from Connor Wood Cycles on with us. Folks, you don't want to miss this one. Chris makes bikes out of wood. Okay, folks, once again, this is Gene from Regular Guy Mountain Biking, and you're back on Bike Chat. Tonight we are interviewing a gentleman named Chris Connor from Connor Wood Cycles, Denver, right, Chris?
Denver, Colorado, yes.
Denver, Colorado, yep. So Chris, if you can't see in the background, makes these amazing bikes. There's one of them that I've been drooling over for quite a while. And the frames are actually made out of wood. So, real quick, let me let you folks know how this whole thing started. A buddy of mine, Craig Cornell, who owns Diamond Cycle, called me up and said, "Hey, Gene, you got to come over. I got a bike made out of wood over here. You got to check this thing out." And I'm like, I got to go see this thing. So I went over there and he showed it to me, and lo and behold, there it was. And I'm going to put up some pictures of it in just a moment. And he told me it was a guy named Chris Connor who made them. I said, I got to know more about this guy. And after a few kind of odd emails back and forth, right, I got to finally speak to Chris. And I've got him today. So, Chris, thanks so much for joining us, or me. You know, we don't have us yet on Bike Chat.
It's all good. Yeah, Gene, this is great. Thank you so much.
I'm going to put up a picture here real quick. I want to show you the bike that got me so interested in Chris and the work he does over here. All right. And, Chris, can you see this bike on the screen over here right now?
Oh, it is just appearing. Yeah, that's one of the cross and gravel bikes of mine.
Oh boy, I'll put up some more pictures, Chris, so everyone can see more about this. In fact, I actually made a nice layout of this picture and posted it up on Instagram quite a while ago when I first saw it. Folks, this is one of these things where even if you don't like bikes at all, let's just say you have no interest in bikes, you can't not appreciate the quality. You look at this thing and you say, "Look, I don't even know anything about bikes. It's just absolutely gorgeous." So, Chris, I mean, I just fell in love with your work the minute I saw this bike and was just so happy that I was going to get the chance to actually talk to you tonight. So it's really pretty cool.
Thank you. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, that's a fun one. And Craig got to keep that one for a little bit and take it out for a ride. And I'm so glad that you got to see it when it was there in New Jersey.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So obviously I'm going to want to ask you about, you and your bikes, but let's find out what Chris is like and what got you into this a little bit, because people have got to be interested. I am more about this, and let's talk about Chris for a minute here before we even get to the bikes. What got you going? Let's hear about Chris.
Sure. Well, yeah, Chris is a little bit of a strange guy, but I'll tell you what I can. Yeah, I started out always loving to ride. And I lived in Boulder, Colorado for a number of years, and the biking there is fantastic. And was always riding as much as I could, and working in high-tech marketing, and I don't know, having my soul sucked out of me for a while. But it was good fun. And I'd always, while I was doing this, sort of high-tech work, I loved as my sort of stress release, working with wood. And on the nights and weekends, I would go into my workshop and I would build furniture and I would design things that were beautiful and functional, and started developing a lot of skills in working with my hands, creating things that were beautiful. And sort of on a parallel path to my doing this, my brother was building a business building classical acoustic guitars on the East Coast. And he and I had chatted for years. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if we could all work together and do this together? And it was a dream of mine. So finally, in about maybe 2007 or so, I said, "Screw it, let's do this. Let's make it happen." Sold the house in Boulder, moved back to the East Coast, and started working with him.
Wow.
So I worked with him for a couple of years, building classical acoustic guitars, and it was phenomenal fun.
Did you even know anything about guitars when you got into this, or that's a pretty? I know a couple guys in that industry, and that's a hell of a thing to jump into.
Yeah, I mean, I knew a little bit in the sense that I was proficient in woodworking. Mm-hmm. My brother had been building his business for a number of years, and all along the process, I had been following what he was doing and how he was doing things, and maybe to some extent, it was almost good coming in without a tremendous amount of knowledge, because part of what I did when I came into the business was to sort of see what he was doing, how he was doing it, look at the processes, see what was taking time, see what was sort of difficult and challenging to do, and then work to overhaul those processes. And so we built, specific jigs and fixtures and put in place specialized machinery and things like that to make the process go more smoothly. And while at the same time I had a marketing and communications and electronic media background, so we were able to streamline his communications and his price points and how we differentiated his products and articulated that. And so that was a whole sort of other element of applying skill sets to what he was doing. So altogether, I was able to both hone my skills as a woodworker, learn how to build these classical acoustic guitars that have to be absolutely precise. I mean, the precision is amazing that's required, in particular in things like the neck angles. You have proper string relief, and so these things are done to tolerances of 1/10 of a millimeter in wood, and have to be strong and durable and beautiful all at the same time. We were living on the water, so and I'd grown up close to the water and always messed around with wooden boats and things that had to be outside in the elements, durable, again beautiful. So did a couple of years back on the East Coast, and even though I grew up in New Jersey,
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. So right around the corner here. So even though I've been on the East Coast for a large portion of my life, I had to get back to Colorado. It's phenomenal and beautiful out here. So moved the family back to Colorado. To Denver this time, and really had gotten the bug for working for myself, for doing my own business, for doing something with a created, beautiful product that relied maybe on some of my skills in woodworking, and realized. Well, I think it was actually probably it was maybe a year or so after I moved back, and I bounced around different things, experimenting with consulting and different types of design, and I think it was one of these beer-infused moments that I'd had a few beers. I'm sitting around at home, and I thought I should build a wood bike for my wife.
What the heck?
What the heck? Maybe make it out of plywood or something, and it'd be a funny joke. And so I realized, that's a terrible idea. A bike out of wood. Who would be crazy enough to do something like that? So let the idea sit, and maybe I don't know, sobered up the next day or something, and realized, or thought to myself the next day, well, maybe that isn't such a crazy, stupid idea. Maybe if you did it right, that it could be something really special. That if I applied these skills that I have in design and making things like the furniture that are beautiful and have precision in their construction, things that really are precise, like the guitars that have to have absolute preciseness in their geometry. These neck angles, they translate directly to things like chainstay angles, that you have to have proper spacing on your chainstays in a bike frame. Working with the boats, things that have to be outside and durable and be able to be out in the elements. And also in all this, I've worked with a lot of composite technologies, working with carbon fiber and Kevlar and epoxies and different sort of structural adhesives. And so throughout this combination of skills, I realized, well, wait a minute, I really have a unique set of skills to approach building a wood bike, along with my love of bicycling.
I was going to ask, did you like to ride bikes? And I mean, good.
Yeah, so this avid love of biking that I'd had all along, realized I could sort of stir all this stuff together into a unusual combination and make a wood bike unlike anything else that was out there. So I poked around, and this was back in maybe 2012 or so, and looked around on the internet, and there were a couple of companies out there doing it. So I realized it's possible, but there were one company here in the States and one company in Germany, and other than that, it was a couple of sort of weird design projects, and that was about it. So thought to myself, hell, let's do it. Let's give this a go. So started designing and building some prototypes and tried to do things differently to make a bike that was going to be beautiful first and foremost, but absolutely functional. And that's where the trick is in this. As I've been doing this now for close to 5 years, it's a continual trick that there's a lot of bad ways to do it. There's a lot of ways that you can either apply bad design or bad engineering or one way or another create a wood bike that's not necessarily something that you really might want to ride. But when you go at it in the proper way, you can take some advantages of some of the material. That in particular, wood has this wonderful suppleness to it, this wonderful ability to have a lively, springy ride to it, but absorb shocks and bumps and vibrations. So it has like this natural shock absorbing material.
So it does feel good to ride then.
It feels phenomenally.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's wonderful to ride.
Wow.
And let me just back up because, when it comes to mountain biking, there's a lot of people that are very particular about their frame materials. And a lot of people, love to flame me, and I get a kick out of it, but, it's reality. What a horrible idea, building a bike out of wood. I mean, what are you inviting danger and death upon yourself? And the answer is no. I mean, are there superior materials?
Right.
Yes, if you're talking about it purely from a structural or purely from a lightweight standpoint.
Right.
So if you are looking at your bike as a hammer that has to drive a nail, has to get you from A to B, requiring the least amount of energy possible, then titanium, carbon fiber, these are marvelous materials.
Of course.
If you're looking at riding as more than riding is an experience, which is the way I've looked at it more and more, especially as I age here and my hair comes out and things like that.
It ain't coming back either here, buddy. It's not coming back either here.
No. I try to do things more for the joy and the beauty of them.
Right.
And that means sometimes doing things a little bit differently.
Sure.
So, if I were a racer trying to shave a tenth of a second off of my time, and wood is not the material for you. But if you're looking for something that has this very unique ride quality to it, creates this incredible riding experience,
right,
and is really just it's a fun, different take on your ride, then a wood bike is kind of hard to beat. So you can get the strength out of these bikes that I'm creating. I've worked a lot to do a lot with what I was saying earlier. Is these are steam bent woods. You get curves in the wood that are bent into the wood itself. I'm using layers of carbon fiber and Kevlar in some cases between the layers of wood in the frame.
Wow.
Forward section of the frames are hollow, so I'm removing a tremendous amount of weight from them, while then using proper joinery, some amazing aerospace adhesives. So you use the right adhesives, the right composites, the right type of wood, the right construction methods, and then you try to accentuate the positive qualities of the wood, which are that you try to give it that fun, smooth, supple ride, but still have that springy liveliness to it that's unlike any other material. But you go at that with that in mind as you're designing the bike, and you can create something that works.
Right. So I think people need to realize that you didn't just get a 2x4 and shove two wheels on it. I mean, so folks, I hope you heard what he was saying there. There's carbon fiber in some of these structures that he's putting together, special kinds of adhesives, layering. I've seen some of these bikes close up. He also, Chris, he's also able to bring out the colors of the wood. So when you get a bike and, it's painted, and wow, look at the paint job. But you can paint anything, right? And it's probably an amazing paint job, but you can only stain and make the wood pop in so many ways, because it's the wood, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's the wood, and the way he's layered in. I've seen some of these. I'm going to bring up another bike over here, which is just absolutely beautiful. It's so if you think of what is involved to make this whole thing work.
But there's a lot of work involved, and there's a lot of thought involved, and like I was saying earlier, you do things. You apply the right designs, the right construction methods, and that's you get something that works and is beautiful. And this is one of my plus bikes. This is a 27 Plus cruiser. It's my mountain cruiser, built off of my sort of cruiser frame. You can see it's got really long chain stays. It's a simple carbon fiber fork, nice 2.8 plus tires on wide rims, and this is a fun bike for light trail cruising, riding in the mountains. It's not a hardcore hammering single speed trail bike, but it is designed to be beautiful. To have the wood works wonderfully.
It's gorgeous.
With the high volume air tires. The wood absorbs the shocks and bumps. These tires, these big plus tires, they eat up shocks and bumps. Nice carbon fork, simple suspension saddle, and this is a fun ride. It's not a it's not, none of my bikes are downhill bikes, trials bikes, things like that. None of these are meant for absolute extreme hammering, but they've been ridden hard. They've been raced hard. This bike, in fact, this is one of my gravel bikes.
Oh my God, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, this one's done with, typically I use white ash on the outside and black walnut as a sort of contrasting center stripe. This one is done in the reverse. This one is black walnut with a white center stripe, white ash center stripe. And I've selected a couple of woods that I love working with, and white ash and black walnut are sort of my two favorites. Ash in particular, because it's strong. It takes a beating, it stays together. It's what's used in baseball bats and axe handles. And yes,
Good point.
You can break a baseball bat, but that's usually when it's swung slightly wrong and you're hitting it in the wrong orientation of the grain. The bats are taking an enormous amount. You think of 90 mile, 100 mile an hour fastball coming in at these things, and then basically a less than an inch diameter piece of wood absorbing all that energy with a beefcake batter behind it. And so I'm doing this composite lamination and stuff like that, which makes it even stronger. So you get massive strength out of the out of the wood, whether it's ash or walnut, especially the walnut, when you do a little bit more reinforcement of it with the composite materials.
Gotcha.
But this bike,
and this is what I was talking about right here. Look at this, folks. Look at how he inlays different, I guess, different types of wood, right? I mean, forgive me, but I mean, look, it's there. So, Chris, when I look at these bikes, I'm not looking at let's go beat the hell out of this thing. This is no different than the person that has a beautiful sports car that they take out every Sunday. Is the sports car the most practical car in the world to drive? No. But you're not driving it on Sunday to save gas. You're driving it because it makes you feel good. And it's just beautiful.
Nor is it your track car.
Right.
That you go out and, you've got your R compound tires on it. You rip it up on that thing. And it doesn't matter if you get dings and bumps and scratches in it, because it's your purpose, your mission specific purpose track car. This is that's a great analogy, Gene. It's the sports car that you roll out on Sundays. You have fun on it. You take it out when you're doing a fun ride. And you enjoy the experience of the riding. And sure, if you want to burn it up, if you want to rip it up on one of these things, you can. And then it's just sort of additional sort of feather in your cap. If it's like, okay, I'm keeping up with everybody else on the group ride, or I'm passing you on the race, and I'm doing it on a wood bike.
Amazing.
It's sort of a fun handicap, although I guess I shouldn't say it's a handicap, because these are these are meant to be ridden and driven hard. And
this is the one that one day, my friend, one day I will have this in my arsenal. I mean, this is my mountain bike over. I'm a mountain biker, so I mean, again, I appreciate the beauty of all the other bikes. I don't like that style of riding. But you will see me sitting on something like this at some point, because how could you not want to? I don't know, man. I mean, I know this is regular guy mountain biking, and one of the things I kind of talk about on this channel is we're regular guys. I mean, I don't try to show a lot of things that are ridiculously priced, because we're regular folks, but even regular folks have things to aspire to and goals. And I mean, this thing is just so sweet looking, and look at the components, everyone. I mean, these are state-of-the-art components that Chris he's put on his bike. So you're getting the kind of gear and equipment that you're looking for. But oh my gosh, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's fun, Gene, matching sort of modern, super modern, the latest technology with what one might consider sort of old world in the the wood frame of the bike. And putting nice 1x11 drivetrain on these things, nice good forks, good carbon cockpit, doing it out right. And of course, that's you would be it would be tragic to put a crappy build on something like this. So you want to build it up nicely and have something that's commensurate with the quality of the frame.
So let me ask you this: if someone wanted to get a bike like this, should they go to your website to learn more about where where they can find a bike like this? I mean, this is not a big box thing over here. This is a specialty bike.
No, I mean, each one of these bikes is built by me, by hand, on order.
Amazing.
So they are all done. I have standard, sizes and models. I do custom, as required and as necessary. Most all the details are on my website. That's www.connorcycles.com. And generally, the call to action in all of it, you see my models and you give me a call and we talk through it and we see what makes sense and we put something together.
Awesome.
So I've got standard, materials, the ash or the walnut. I've got standard models, so I've got a cruiser bike, I've got a city bike, I've got a mountain bike, I've got a cross and gravel bike, and I've just come out with a fat bike.
Really?
Yes, yeah, that isn't even up there yet. But
I was going to say, if you can send me a picture, if you can't, that's cool. Maybe it's coming out later on, but I'll post it later on this video.
Sure,
but that's awesome. You got a fat bike too.
Yeah, it's contagious.
I know we've been talking for a little while, but the fat bike. Any challenges building out the frame with that type of, the diameter you have to build the
tire clearance?
The tire. Yes, that's what I'm looking for over here.
Yeah, I mean, balancing tire clearance with chainstay length is a little bit of a challenge. But actually, I've managed to get, I think the chainstays on are about 445 millimeters. So it's not a terribly long chainstay on it. The challenge I've had with it is making a compact triangle design.
Okay.
Where just from an engineering standpoint, making a very small forward triangle puts changes where the stresses are on some of the frames, as opposed to a larger, more traditional triangle that you might have in one of my mountain bikes that you've seen earlier, or the cross and gravel bikes. We have a higher top tube and a longer seat tube. When you start shrinking that seat tube down, you put some stresses on the top tube that aren't there otherwise. So that's been my challenge dealing with it. But in fact, it's helped me, realizing the way the stresses are applied on the fat bike has helped me now go back and re-engineer the designs of some of my other performance bikes and make everything stronger. So I've had a first prototype of the fat bike that went to Switzerland, and was being ridden out there, and I'm now working on my Gen 2 one, which is even stronger and should be even more awesome.
Nice.
So that's the one that should hopefully be ready for market now.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome.
They're good fun.
Well, look, Chris. First of all, beautiful. I got to actually, like I said, see one firsthand. The pictures, certainly, they're gorgeous. But when you get to actually see the work you've done, it's just amazing. I didn't know what to expect to see when Craig called me up, and I was floored. So hopefully I'll get one day. I'd love to say I did, but I'm really happy at least I got to see one and get to talk to you folks. Chris Connor from Connor Cycles. I'll have all the links to his websites, and he's on Instagram, right, and all those social.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. The Facebook page has all the sort of latest and greatest as it comes out.
Oh, man. Well, Chris, look, thank you so much. This was awesome. I appreciate this. Sure. It was great to talk to you. I also want to do real quick, before I let everybody go, our bike chat backdrop was provided today by Troy Dodds. Troy, hopefully I got your name right. Folks, like I mentioned in my other videos, if you ever want to have the backdrop of our bike chat with your picture on it, just tag at Regular Guy Mountain Biking. I'll put it all on the screen for you, and you put it on there, and I'll find the pictures, and I can put your picture for the backdrop of our bike chat. So, Chris, you don't realize it, but right now behind your head, you actually have Chris Dodd's mountain bike flying by you. Yeah, or Todd, rather Troy Dodd. Sorry, Troy. Yeah, so but watch out. So yeah, cool, Troy. Thanks a lot, man, for posting us over there. Chris, thank you so much. It was awesome, and maybe we'll get to talk again sometime. And if I'm in Denver, that's the one I want to ride. Okay.
All right, very good. It's here. It's my personal rider. So by all means, come on down and ride it.
Oh, sweet, man. All right, Chris. Thank you so much for your time tonight, my friend.
Thanks, Gene. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.